Mexico flag, acknowledgement of our tribal land, and then approval of the agenda. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Saludo la bandera del Estado de Nuevo México, el símbolo de amistad perfecta entre culturas unidas. We acknowledge that our Board of Education meeting is taking place on occupied indigenous land. We acknowledge the Tesuque Pueblo lands and other tribal lands which we stand. We honor these people, past, present, and future. We acknowledge the history and ongoing colonization of where we are sitting right now in New Mexico and in our country. We acknowledge our own place in the story of colonization. Okay, thank you. Item D is approval of the agenda. Superintendent, any changes from staff from the agenda?
President Abeyta, there are no changes.
Okay, anything from the board?
President Abeyta, move to approve the agenda.
We have a motion, can I have a second? And a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, motion carries. Introduction of interpreter.
Para asistencia de traducción en español, la señora Peña te ayudará.
Okay, item 3 is school showcase, and our first school is NAI.
President Abeyta, members of the board, Superintendent Griffin, I am honored to introduce Miss Brittany Behena Griffith, principal of our Early Childhood Center, NAI Early Childhood Center.
Good evening, President Abeyta, members of the board, Superintendent Griffin. Thank you for the opportunity to share a glimpse into NAI Early Childhood's transformative journey over the past few years. In the wake of the challenges brought to us by COVID, our leadership team came together to ask a difficult but important question. How do we support the social and emotional well-being of our students in a lasting and meaningful way? The answer led us to conscious discipline. Using ESSER funds, we invested in comprehensive training for all of our staff and materials to fully implement this approach throughout our school. What followed has been a powerful shift, not just in student self-regulation, but in our school culture. Tonight, you'll see highlights from our journey with a focus on 3 components. First, our implementation of Feeling Buddies curriculum, which has given students language and tools to identify and process their emotions. Looks something like this. My eyes look like this, my face looks like this because I'm anxious about public speaking. Second, through explicit teaching of and modeling of breathing techniques, our students are learning how to calm their bodies and reset their minds. These strategies are now a daily part of our classrooms, empowering students to manage their big feelings independently. And third, our Safe Place is a learning center that has become havens for regulation, calming areas where students are coached, not punished, so they can return to learning with calm bodies and confidence. The impact has been priceless. We've observed stronger relationships and a new sense of emotional resilience in our students. What began as a response to a crisis has grown into a foundation for emotional intelligence and lifelong learning. I am incredibly proud of our amazing and dedicated NAI staff and our wonderful students, and I'm excited to share this video as a reflection of the heart, dedication, and growth that we have at NAI. Thank you.
Great. Vice President Noble.
Thank you very much, and I just want to say thank you, Brittany. I really appreciate this. Seems like these days adults could be reminded of some of these techniques again and again. We all need to learn the parallel process. And putting on my early childhood hat for a moment, because I'm sort of deep in this world, I do want to say that last year, that's not even this school year, but last year, I checked in with many of our team in the Early Childhood Center and said, are we getting, the services that we need in conjunction with the public schools? And they said, yes, we are. For the first time ever, we have no one waiting. We have nothing to follow up on. It's just happening. I was out at the Santa Fe Community College at the Early Childhood Center of Excellence today, and they were highlighting the partnership with NIE as well and the services that their kids in the Early Childhood Center, there are 10 classrooms, we have 9, are receiving in conjunction. So not only is NIE doing incredible work in the classrooms, but it is extending to many of us as partners in the community, and thank you for that work. It's really very meaningful.
Board Member Heffron.
Thank you, President Abeyta and Dr. Griffin. As you know, 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, when we had our last board meeting, I let you know that I had the pleasure of walking through NIE with the principal, Brittany, over here, as well as a couple of wonderful teachers. I was disturbed only to learn that they had a waiting list for grade age 3 and age 4, which I had also mentioned a couple of weeks ago. So I hope that we can work on expanding the services and the number of students that we possibly could provide at NIE, if not at another location similar to NIE, that we can replicate it somehow, because your services that you provide are outstanding, absolutely. The teachers are fantastic. The students, of course, adorable. Thank you.
Okay, so our next presenters are the Santa Fe High School Orchestra.
While they get set up, I'm going to make a quick introduction. So I'm pleased to introduce Gabe Tafoya, who is a professional mariachi violinist and holds a master's in music education from the University of New Mexico. Gabe came to violin late in life. He was 18 when he started playing, and works to encourage students. That's late. I know 18 doesn't sound late, but that's in the world of violinists. They typically start so much younger. Gabe works to encourage students by assuring them that it is never too late to pick up music and make it a huge part of their lives. Mr. Tafoya has taught at Santa Fe High School for 11 years, with the last 10 serving as orchestra director at Santa Fe High. He is also the director of the orchestra program at St. Michael's High School. Recently, he's taken on a new role in the department. He's doing instructional coaching for our orchestra team. It's been really wonderful. And Gabe believes that music is not only a core part of school curriculum, but that it is a necessity that all students should have access to, regardless of language barriers and financial hardship. And I'll add one more note here. Gabe's student, Rune Schultz, a 2025 Santa Fe High School graduate, was just awarded Tuesday night the Melissa Engstrom Youth Award at the Mayor's Award for Excellence in the Arts. And I was there, and Dr. Griffin was there, and it was so beautiful, and she spoke very eloquently about Santa Fe Public Schools' impact on her music education. It was really beautiful for everybody to hear in the city. I was very proud. So I'll turn it over to Gabe.
Hi, we are the Santa Fe High Chamber Orchestra, and we will be performing an excerpt from October by Eric Whitaker. If you would like to hear the full piece, come to our concert on October 21st in the Santa Fe High Theater at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Let's do a really quick tuning check because we changed rooms. Check everything else.
Board Member Bozay.
Thank you, President Abeyta. Before these incredible musicians leave the room, I just want to tell them how wonderful they were. Thank you to Mr. Tafoya. I know how dedicated you are to your students. I've known some of those kids since they were in kindergarten. It's wild to see them playing this music, so great work, everyone. And at least 4 of those 7 kids are freshmen, so
Wow.
yeah,
Oh,
I
nice.
mean, it's very impressive. Great work, everyone.
Board Member Heffron.
I would like to also congratulate Santa Fe High School for its incredible music programs, including its band that sometimes gets to perform even at football games. But anyway, I love the music program and the arts program that Santa Fe High has there and has for years now. Congratulations.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda is public forum. Mr. Beta.
Yes, President Abeyta, Board President Abeyta, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Griffin. We have 3 in-house speakers and 7 emails tonight. So I'm going to go over the Santa Fe Public Schools Board of Education Public Forum ground rules. Public forum includes online and/or virtual participation as needed, as well as in-person comments when the board holds in-person meetings. Please listen and speak with respect. No uncivil conduct will be permitted. Please do not discuss any specific student who is not your own. No sharing of time. Self-monitor and observe the 3-minute time limit. You will receive a 30-second warning when your time is almost up. Public commentary and dialogue are allowed only during the public forum, not throughout the meeting. Please search for answers on common ground. You may speak on any topic, whether it is on the agenda or not. Your input will be taken into consideration. Please be advised that the board may discuss your issue during the meeting, but by law, the board cannot take action on items that are not on the agenda. Please do not discuss employee matters which may result in disciplinary action. Instead, notify the employee's supervisor, the Human Resources Department, or the superintendent. And with that, I'd like to call up our first speaker. That was Louise Yakey. Sorry about that. Come on down. You'll also, the speakers will have 3 minutes. I will keep a time, and I'll give you a 30-second warning when it comes up.
Here's a flyer for
The board? Okay,
yeah,
great.
especially the students.
President Abeyta, Superintendent Griffin, and members of the board. I am Louise Yakey, the health careers teacher at Ortiz Middle School and the CEO of Arise Tutors. I'm here tonight to share with you that Arise has contracted with the new City Teen Center on the south side to provide free tutoring to students aged 12 through 19. We are at the Teen Center on Tuesday and Thursday evenings to provide tutoring in all subjects, along with preparation for the GED. We got a GED student with a tutor right now, getting ready. And now, hopefully, we'll be doing a little connection here, science fair projects with Nina Otero. On Wednesdays, we provide in-depth SAT preparation. Once again, there's no charge. A private course available through Princeton Review is $7,650, and we provide it for free. The center covers the cost of the Arise tutors. All tutors are aspiring teachers. Hopefully we'll scoop them all up. We would like to respectfully request that the district's teachers and administrators share information about this free tutoring to parents and guardians, especially considering we have parent conferences at the end of this month. Thank you for helping us spread the word about this important resource. I've never spoken before. Do I get to leave now? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. There's a flyer. Yeah.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lisa Christofferson.
I'm gonna have to lose weight to get through here these days. It's a good incentive. President Abeta, Dr. Griffin, school board members, and our new school board members, welcome, welcome. That music was very grounding after today. It's very good, socio-emotional, that was great. I speak today for 3 reasons. One, to say how absolutely thrilled, humbled, and excited and delighted I was. Thank you, Dr. Griffin came and visited Nina Otero Community School, and I was coming out of my room for lunch, and there you were, and I was so excited to see you. I don't know, you weren't there just to see me, but thank you for coming to my classroom. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for the personal visit. So the second reason I'm here is some of my students saw you in the hallway. Who's that lady? You know how kids are, right? They're like, who's on our campus? And then somehow through the grapevine, our superintendent is here. I had them the next period. What does the superintendent do? What is she here for? So we kind of talked about school districts, et cetera. So I told them you were our boss, and for the principal as well. So they sent me with a list of things they would like to see at Nina Otero. They want a soccer team. They want new computers. They would like lockers. They would like lunch recess to be a little bit longer. They would like cell phones. They want a football team, a soccer team. They would like to have, this one also, more specials to choose from. Recess longer, have a microwave in the cafeteria, and they would like a middle school playground. Yes, and so the third reason that I have to speak to you all today is that a comment was made. It's very concerning, and I'm sorry to end on a kind of a sadder note. A comment was made by one of our directors in our district to one of our special ed teachers. The teacher was advocating, I have come before, of the safety concerns that we have at our school. So this teacher was advocating for safety concerns for her staff, for the kids, and she was told that if you don't feel safe, you should just quit. So I am here to ask, are we trying to lose special ed teachers and staff? The safety concerns are very serious. One staff just recently hit with a bike helmet. We have 3 kids that were just beat up. So we are on our 3rd EA in that classroom, and we have staff that are hurt, and that teacher is out on FMLA. So please, I would ask if we could inquire. I don't think that's the message that we want to send, and that also went through our school like wildfire.
Our next speaker is Representative Tara Lujan.
Thank you, school board members. As mentioned, I'm Representative Tara Lujan. I represent House District 48 in the heart of E.J. Martinez Elementary School, where I'm a proud parent, have been for many years. And I just wanted to come before you because I haven't had the opportunity. I've been traveling across the state, really talking to different school districts across the state and learning about their budget because I serve on House Appropriations and Finance. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm putting on record and having extensive discussions with my own community members and those of my school district that, you know, there's great concern with the GO bond that has been put forward in regards to the administration building that you are putting forward $35 million for this GO bond that request, but it's going to be a total of up to $60 million. I feel the public needs to know this. I feel it's a concern when the state is charged with adhering to what the Martinez-Yazzie lawsuit has put forth before us. And when we are to put our resources and our budget and our dollars directly into the classrooms, when we have a 55% increase in administration budgets across the state, I would say, but in Santa Fe District, it's been up to 50%. I say we need to reevaluate how we are going to be spending those budget dollars and what we are asking from our taxpayers and those public dollars. We are not here to serve a budget. We are here to serve the people and our communities, as demonstrated throughout tonight. I got to spend the evening yesterday at the New Mexico School for the Arts, and I can tell you across the board, when we have those types of expert state-of-the-art buildings and spaces for our kids, as demonstrated tonight by Annie, by Nye. Both of those schools I have given dollars to through my capital outlay dollars that I get to appropriate. And I would say when we do those sorts of things, that's where the real change comes. Study after study after study after lawsuit tell us that's where the outcomes are when those dollars are directed directly into our classrooms for our kids, our students, our educators. I implore you to reevaluate how we're spending those or asking our taxpayers to spend their dollars. And thank you. And that's all I'm asking as your state representative, as one of them here in Santa Fe. Thank you.
Okay. Our first email is from Lisa Morley, and it is a poem. I am from the staff lounge at 2451 Avenida Chaparral, home base for cooking with kids, supplies, and setup, where 4 professionals equitably converted a classroom to an individual office spaces. I am from 400 square feet of classroom space in the band portable, unconditional colleague support, and where children comment, "Oh my goodness, now I get it." I am from Wrigley desk wobbly chairs in an outdated building with inefficient HVAC system where teachers yell above the air conditioner. In December, and children shiver in their coats, straining to hear. I am from the blooming yellow of Chamisa, the natural space and garden, full of yellow-purple eggplant, sweet corn, and the deep fuchsia pink of amaranth stalks. I am from reading under the stars and pajamas and pancakes, from community members and children. I am from laughter and heartache, and from deep love. I am from responsibility and being present, and you are loved and cared about. I am from Fantastic Fridays. I am from kindness and acceptance, Friday popcorn and farm-to-table lunches, from personal sharing, supportive relationships, student artifacts, and jogathon images displayed on the walls, in the hallways, and in the classrooms. That's Lisa Morley, special education, licensure, math and reading, interventionist, SAT chairperson, and 21st century coordinator. Okay. Next up is from Dominic Romero. Dear board members, superintendent, and community members, my name is Dominique Romero, excuse me, and I'm a proud parent at Chaparral Elementary. My daughter has been at Chaparral for 4 years, and during that time, she has truly loved every one of her teachers. She feels safe, supported, and happy at school. As a parent, that means everything to me. That's why I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible heart and resilience of the Chaparral community. The past few years have brought significant changes. With E.J. Martinez now sharing the Chaparral building, much of the public focus has understandably been on supporting E.J.'s transition. But this shift has also deeply impacted Chaparral, not just in terms of space, but in the routines that define daily school performance. And yet, through it all, Chaparral has remained the strong, welcoming, and high-performing school it always has been. What I admire most is how the Chaparral staff have never allowed students to feel uncertainty or fear about the school's future. Even amid so much change, they have maintained a sense of calm, consistency, and care. Our children continue to feel safe, valued, loved, and supported every day. That is a powerful testament to the professionalism and heart of the Chaparral family. Families have remained engaged, supporting our PTO fundraisers, volunteering at events, and joining their students on field trips. Our students have shown remarkable grace and flexibility in adapting to every change. Through it all, Chaparral has continued to thrive. That kind of resilience doesn't happen by accident. It grows from a deeply rooted culture of care, collaboration, and excellence. We wholeheartedly recognize that E.J. Martinez families are navigating a major transition, and we appreciate the ongoing efforts to build a shared sense of community. However, it is important to honor Chaparral's role. not just as a host, but as a school that continues to lead with strength, compassion, and integrity. Thank you for taking the time to listen and consider our concerns. Chaparral has proven time and again that it is a place of excellence, compassion, and community. It deserves to be seen, valued, and celebrated for the impact it has on our students and families every single day. Sincerely, Dominique Romero, Chaparral Elementary parent. Next up is from Barbara Agueras. I wish to comment as part of the public forum segment of the Santa Fe School Board of Education. I live in the E.J. Martinez neighborhood, and I'm a proud lifelong resident in Santa Fe. In my opinion, the board made a courageous decision not to rebuild E.J. Martinez. It makes no sense to rebuild a school for so few students, a sound economic decision. Be that as it may, I want to talk about the other school where E.J. currently resides. That is Chaparral Elementary School. Chaparral School has willingly adjusted its space to accommodate E.J. and has welcomed their new neighbors. They have understood their dilemma of being without a home. Even with scheduling tight space, Chaparral has maintained a positive, upbeat spirit. Chaparral is more than the above description. Chaparral has always continued with their community-based efforts as they always have. It is a true community school where families are encouraged and assisted to help their children. Families are invited into the schools for all kinds of events, such as bingo game night and a jogathon. Their teachers are solid and stable in their work. As someone who has supported Chaparral for years in a variety of capacities, I can't say enough about the spirit in which Chaparral Elementary School has acted. Barbara Aguedas. All right. Next up is Robin Hickerson, a student at Mandela. I am a senior at Mandela. The curriculum that Mandela followed was not easy before we had to switch to our public schools account. I understand why we have switched to the SFPS accounts, but the functionality of them is hindering our work and making it even harder for us to succeed. As part of the IB curriculum, we are to write a research paper for each of our classes. These papers request extensive and deep research that goes beyond a basic Google search. Unfortunately, many academic resources are blocked live as we find them that contain no information that could hurt students, compromise their well-being, or hinder their ability to learn. For my historical investigation, a paper that I have worked on over my junior and senior years, I am unable to look at a peer-reviewed paper without encountering a GoGuardian blocked page on the school-issued Chromebooks. I have made documents trying to make lists of websites that may peers and I have been unable to access in attempt to get some sites unblocked. But the technology department does not prioritize unblocking individuals' research sources because the process is very tedious. I understand that they also may not be able to unblock many of these websites because there are security issues associated with some of these articles. Me and my peers use Google Scholar, which is the main application we are encouraged to use to find relevant information. Unfortunately, we cannot access nearly any of these journal document and books because they are presented in a PDF format and it's difficult to regulate PDFs that contain viruses. We propose that the district consider giving us access to secure databases. I know we have an El Portal, but is it too niche for our purposes? A research database would make district operation more efficient so they do not need to unblock research sites and make our work easier without posing a security risk. If this sounds intriguing, I recommend asking the Mandela teachers to find out which database is most appropriate for our school's needs. Thank you for your consideration, Robin Hickerson. All right. Next up is Jennifer Kahn. Good evening, Superintendent and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. As the board continues to move forward with its 2025 General Obligation Bond campaign to engage voters, I respectfully ask that you commit to a full transparency, specifically in clearing communications what the bond will cover. To provide some context, Albuquerque Public Schools, the largest school district in the state, has proposed a 2025 GO bond of $350 million for a population of roughly 650,000 people. By comparison, Santa Fe Public Schools, with a population of about 127,000, will generate $150 million from its GO bond. That's just 1/5 of the population of APS, yet nearly 43% of the revenue. Why do I bring this up? Because it illustrates the incredible blessing Santa Fe has in its tax base. The vast majority of those who will fund this bond do not have children in the district, yet they are willing and able to invest in our schools. This is not just a stroke of good fortune, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to use this wealth that many other districts simply do not have, and direct it where it's needed most, to our students. Research consistently shows that placing support services directly on school campuses leads to better outcomes than centralized models. Access to natural light outdoor space, nutritious meals, and safe modern classrooms all contribute significantly to student success. Yet, this GO bond proposes to spend the first $35 million, nearly a quarter of the entire bond, on a new centralized administrative and limited support services facility. Now imagine if that $35 million and potentially upwards of $60+ million over the next 8 years were redirected to upgrade and modernize every school across the district. Imagine on-site support services at every school. Imagine every classroom equipped with 21st century technology, science labs in every elementary school, and infrastructure that supports every student's academic, social, and emotional needs right on campus. I can imagine that, I can imagine that. I hope you can too. What's deeply concerning is that nowhere in the public-facing materials or campaign messaging is this administrative facility mentioned, despite it being the largest single line item in the bond. Meanwhile, items like teacher housing and athletic fields, which together account for far less of the bond, are prominently featured. You made your decision about the GO bond. You made your decision about what the GO bond will fund, and I understand you have your reasons. But if you believe that this is the right course, why exclude one of the most significant uses of taxpayer money from your public messaging? That leads me to my request. I ask that you trust the public with the full picture. I ask that you, is that 30 seconds? I'm almost done here. I ask that you include in all campaign materials a clear breakdown of what the GO bond will fund, what dollar amounts and percentages for each category, and what with that amounts of percentages for each category. This is not difficult or expensive to do. It will cost nothing extra to simply be transparent. Here's a simple example of what it could look like. Proposed allocation breakdown. Transparency builds trust. Transparent and trust is the foundation for community support. Please give voters a full picture. Let them decide with all the facts in front of them whether the bond reflects the priorities that they want for our schools and for our children. Thank you for your time and consideration. Jennifer Kahn. Sorry, I just wanted, okay. Just one of those. All right, here we go. All right, and our last one. And this is from Anthony Will, Hotel Sales Coordinator. Actually, it's the second to last one. I just realized that there's two Wills. I think they're related somehow, or they may not be. Okay, Kimberly Nova Will, this is from. Hello, my name is Kimberly Nova Will, and I am a parent to a precious fifth grader at E.J. Martinez Elementary School. Today, I'm writing to ask with all my might that you please address the building and safety issues as soon as possible at the E.J. Martinez side of the Chaparral building that will become their permanent home. I also hope that this changes processes and procedures going forward. I used to work at a bank. We sold products like credit card machines and check deposit machines that you can have in your office and deposit your checks without going to the bank. Before entering into a contract with a potential customer, we were required to do site visits to make sure that these options made sense for the customer and the bank. It is alarming that decisions much bigger than the credit card machines and check deposit scanners are made by the Santa Fe Public School Board without ever setting foot in the building that houses students, teachers, and staff members for the better part of most of the days. Even more alarming is the fact that we had to beg for you to take the time to make those visits in order to incite change. I'm also writing to ask for urgency when it comes to planning a new build for Midtown schools who desperately need it. I don't want Chaparral and Nava to be having these same conversations 3 years down the line. At a meeting at Milagro earlier this week, it was discussed that investments at Pinon and Nava will be possible by redirecting funds from EJ. I hope that whatever you are all planning is a long-term solution, because of right now, all of the plans for Midtown schools look more like Band-Aids in how we got into this mess. Lack of planning, lack of maintenance, lack of attention, lack of care for Midtown. Kate Noble mentioned on a Facebook post earlier this week that she'll be voting for the GO bond on this election cycle because of the new Educational Service Center will be a one-stop hub for transcripts, vaccines, Adelante program, and a student's performance space. This all sounds great, but is there a way to scale down and have this at the same time as helping buildings that our kids spend the majority of their time in? If we live in a perfect world with all the money available in the world, then yes, please put in a student performance space. But we don't live in a perfect world where education is prioritized for all. We live in a world where everything that has to do with education has to be pieced together by scrapping our resources together and hoping that our children will come out on the other side happy and well-adjusted and well-educated. I'll ask over and over and over for compromise, for sacrifices to be made so that the kids in Midtown can have one nice thing. And that one nice thing that I'm asking for is a new building for elementary school kids in Midtown. All right. That was Kimberly Nova Will. And our last email of the night is Anthony Will. Dear members of the Santa Fe Public School Board, my name is Anthony Will, and I'm a proud parent of a 5th grader at E.J. Martinez Elementary School. I'm writing today with deep concerns and urgency regarding the building and safety issues at the E.J. Martinez side of the Chaparral campus, which is set to become our children's permanent home. I respectfully ask that these issues be addressed as soon as possible to ensure a safe and supportive learning environment for our schools, teachers, and staff. I also hope the situation leads to meaningful changes on how decisions are made to move forward. It is deeply troubling that such significant choices, ones that are directly affected the daily lives of children and educators, were made without physically visiting the building in question. Even more concerning is that it took persistent advocacy from families and community members to prompt the visits and initiate change. In addition, I urge the board to prioritize long-term planning for the Midtown schools. We cannot afford to repeat this cycle of delayed maintenance and reactive decision-making. At a recent meeting at Milagro, it was mentioned that funds originally allocated for E.J. Martinez will be redirected to Pinon and Nava. If that's the case, I sincerely hope that those investments are part of a comprehensive, forward-thinking solution, not temporary fixes that leave future families facing the same challenges. Kate Noble recently shared her support for the upcoming GO bond, highlighting the new education system as a centralized hub for student services and performance space. While this vision is admirable, I ask that we also consider scaling efforts to ensure that the buildings where our children spend most of their time are safe, functional, and dignified. We don't live in a world where education is fully funded and prioritized. We live in one where we must make difficult choices and sacrifices. I ask that one of those sacrifices be made in favor of Midtown children. I will continue to advocate for compromise and thoughtful investment. All I'm asking for is one good thing for our Midtown Elementary School students, a new building that reflects the value we place on their education and well-being. Thank you for your time and consideration, Anthony Will, Hotel Sales Coordinator. And that concludes public comment.
Okay, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is union update. Do we have somebody from the union here this evening? No? Okay, we are on to board announcements and follow-ups. I'd like to welcome to our board meeting our new student board members. So if we can, we'll start with you, Bo, if you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, what schools you represent or will be representing on the school board. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Bonifacio James Reeves. I'm 17. I go to Early College Opportunities High School. I have experience with being a team helper at Santa Maria de la Paz Catholic Community. I did the go-kart camp at Early College Opportunities, which was pretty crazy. And I represent both Early College Opportunities and Mandela. And the announcements over at Early College Opportunities is ECO had the county clerk's office present to the 11th and 12th grade students Democracy 101 and conducted a mock election. Students had the real life experience of using voting machines. ECO is promoting our annual car show that will be held at Early College Opportunities on October 18th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. ECO hosted Gonzalez Community School on an 8th grade tour of ECO. Students were given information to help them when making a decision on where to attend high school. At Mandela International Magnet School, grades 7th, 8th, and 10th have gone on an overnight trip during the first quarter. Our 9th grade will be traveling to 100 Elk in Buenos Vista, Colorado from October 22nd to October 24th. On October 31st, we will have an all-school assembly highlighting both Halloween and Day of the Dead. Aztec dancers will perform during that time. Congratulations to Giovanna Chavez, who won the first prize for high school in the Hispanic Heritage Art Contest sponsored by Santa Fe Public Schools. Student Council will hold a fall dance on Friday, October 17th. And that's it for me.
Great, thank you and welcome. Board Member Healing.
Hello, my name is Jack Elling. I am a senior at Santa Fe High School. I have leadership experience through Mayor's Youth Advisory Board as the co-chair and longest standing member. I also co-founded Santa Fe High School's chess club and am the president this year of Model United Nations for Santa Fe High School. I am excited to help make change towards public schools, and I represent Santa Fe High School. As for...
any announcements?
Yes. Cadet Sawyer McClintosh was nominated by staff to be featured in this SPF Superintendent Bulletin. Santa Fe High School hosted a high-energy assembly called DUNK, Distracted Driving, sponsored by the U.S. Army. This basketball-themed event uses slam dunks, trick shots, and real-life stories to educate all high school students about the dangers of distracted driving. Our NJROTC led both the pet parade and historical parade with the color guard and matching formation during Fiesta de Santa Fe, as well as hosted the New Mexico National Guard and their very large inflatable obstacle course. Over 400 Santa Fe High School students participated throughout the day. Homecoming was a big success. Our theme was Vogue, and student government is hosting a fun fall/Halloween door decorating contest on campus in the following weeks. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Board Member Lopez.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Daphne Saiche. I am representing Capitol High School, and I'm a senior this year. I decided to be a student board representative because I believe students deserve to have a strong voice in decisions that shapes our school and education, as well as I'm the president of Student Council, and I had the honor of being their vice president last year, which is very exciting. I have a lot of plans, and I hope that I can help grow our community as well and make it a safe environment for everybody. And yeah, I hope to make this a great year. As for announcements, our homecoming and Gear Up Week were a success. Our theme was Night in Rio. We are looking forward to hosting our Avid Showcase on October 16th. CHS has 11 students who qualified for 2025 Regional Honors Guitar Orchestra, which is very exciting. We will also be hosting a Fall Resource Fair October 29th, And the Student Council will be hosting a club coordination meeting October 15th, and we'll be heading to the Northeast District Conference on October 21st. And that will be all. Thank you.
Welcome. Other board announcements, board members, Vice President Noble.
Thank you. I just want to say welcome to our student board members. You're all seniors, right? You're a junior? Okay, great. I love it when we get juniors, just because we have 2 years to work with you, and for the two of you that are seniors, it'll go by really quickly. So please be as proactive as you want to be. The fact that you're here already means that you're probably like many of us up here, which is, interested in politics, leadership, and making schools better. And I really appreciate that. There aren't that many of us always in the world. So I really hope you'll embrace it and squeeze every drop out of this opportunity. Help us make things better. We really value your voice. We need to hear from you. Of course, we don't know what we don't know about what students are experiencing at the schools you represent and all of that. So I just want to encourage you, again, to be proactive, reach out. We can have coffee, meet up. Any board member, I'm sure, is willing to do that. But use us as best you can to further your objectives in education, and thank you for your service.
Board Member Heffron.
Thank you, President Abeyta. I would like to congratulate also and welcome the board members. I am still in contact with a couple of our board members, students we had from last year who are now freshmen in college. So I encourage you, as well as Board Member Noble just said, to please speak up, because one of the deficits I think personally that we have had over time is we are not hearing enough from our students directly about issues confronting them. Also the good things that are happening that they appreciate. And I also want to hear more from parents. So any participation you can have at the community level is much appreciated and encouraged as well. I now would like to, however, address a couple of other things, because last Friday, I think it was, yes, Superintendent Griffin and I were pleased to meet with the new principal at Kearney Elementary School, which is in my District 5. Her name is Janice Ulabari, and she was fantastic, spending a lot of time with us, walking us around the school to show us the improvements that are being made relevant to safety and inclusion, relevant to the learning in math and reading that is now, and the teaching that is taking place. We observed a couple of classrooms, and I must say we were both overwhelmed. For instance, when there's an award-winning teacher there, Larry Spiegler. When we were in second grade math, watching him, we questioned if we could keep up with the class, for instance. It was so overwhelmingly wonderful, as well as a science teacher for first grade, once again teaching concepts about light permeating levels of darkness. Can you read in this dark or not? And it's another way of saying, I think that the teachers that we have in our community are doing incredible jobs, and I just wish parents and others could observe these firsthand as we were able to. On the other hand, I have some issues. I've also talked to Superintendent Griffin about all of these things of concern. And perhaps it's because as a former teacher and tutor myself, I'm very concerned about the burdens on teaching and on teachers themselves. This is not to say students don't have burdens, but I'm focused right now on burdens to teachers that I would like to be addressed by us. These have been issues that have been presented to me not only by teachers in my District 5, but in other districts as well. One would be, for instance, policies that need attention, for instance, that we've discussed at length on cell phones and what's happening with the use of cell phones in classrooms. To this day, even though we might have a policy that there are no cell phones allowed, it's still an issue, as we've also discovered some students have 2 and 3 cell phones. So even if they submit one to a teacher, they might have another in their pocket. Secondly, I would like for us to address standards-based grading needs more help in telling parents and students how this works and what it means. Because even though teachers have been struggling to make it work, they feel that they are not quite there in trying to clearly explain to parents as well as students the efficacies of why we now have student-based grading. They have also asked for trauma-informed instruction and de-escalation techniques. We all know that safety on our campuses is critical to us now more than ever. We also know that the mental health of our student bodies has been directly affected by threats of violence, by threats of ICE, by other threats, by threats of being kicked out of school for what reason, who knows. So in other words, teachers are feeling overwhelmed by how do I deal with these students who are in trouble, wanting to help them, not punish them. Not that these are bad behaviors that need correction, but how can I enforce some good behaviors? I would say this correlates directly with what NYE Early Childhood Center does with its students, even though they're only age 3 and 4. But it's the essence of that that you do at NYE that we need at other levels in our schools. Also, we would like to understand what the dress code is. We have no dress code. I have teachers, especially male teachers, who are very concerned when they have students in middle and high school revealing parts of their bodies because of the way they're dressed. And nobody's calling attention to it, or they're not allowed to, or they're afraid to. So dress codes, can we look at that? I would also like, perhaps last, to understand how can we not only encourage more teacher recruitment and training for everything, but also substitute recruitment and training. Because we have so many teachers, the burden on them now is they are filling in to teach a class or take over a class because we have no substitute. The other reality of that is they're paid for that extra time in a classroom, which actually is more of a cost to us. So I would hope that somehow we can also improve the recruitment of substitutes. The ones I have met, by the way, have been greatly positive about their experiences in our schools, about with the contractor that we have hired to process them. I just wish that there were ways that we could process more quickly, if possible. I think that's enough, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other board announcements? Board Member Bose.
Thank you, Board President Abeyta. I also just wanted to take a moment to welcome our new student board representatives. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time and your service. We appreciate you and look forward to hearing from you. I also wanted to relay an update to the board from the CRC meeting last week. The committee was in agreement and we kind of asked staff to work on a presentation regarding the urgent needs at the EJ Chaparral site and to bring a presentation forward to the committee so that we can look at our contingency and what projects are on the agenda, you know, that might be needing that contingency, but very much prioritizing the EJ Chaparral site. Thank you.
Okay, then moving on, superintendent announcements and follow-up.
President Abeyta, board members, just one short announcement. I'm pleased to announce the appointment of Cameron Sperry as the new principal at Atalaya Elementary School following the departure of Principal Kate Diaz. Sperry brings a wealth of experience and deep commitment to student-centered learning to her new role. Sperry will shadow Principal Diaz during the week of October 13th to ensure a smooth transition, and families are invited to meet both principals at Popcorn with Principals, the open house on Thursday, October 16th, from 3:30 to 6 o'clock at Atalaya's cafeteria. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a presentation supporting educator capacity, licensing, and resources.
Thank you, President DeBata, members of the board, Superintendent Griffin. Thank you. Tonight, we'll be sharing the various pathways to licensure. This includes teachers on alternative license, people coming from other countries. We want to give you just an update on how people can become educators, but then also discuss some of the resources and supports that we are providing all of our teachers. At this time, I also want to introduce Vanessa Angel. She's our district new teacher mentor. So she and a team of 2 others mentor all of our brand new teachers in the district for 2 years. So they go into the classroom, they do observations, they help them write lesson plans, work with classroom management. And of course, you all know Mr. Pastrana, our Executive Director for Language and Culture. So I'm going to turn it over to Vanessa. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Superintendent Romero. Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Vanessa Angel, so I oversee all of the new teachers that are hired for the district. Just to give you a background of who we are and what we do within the state of New Mexico. So as you see on the presentation, we work in close conjunction with New Mexico PED, which is our licensing agency. We also work closely with our educator preparedness pathways, which are our colleges and universities, such as Highlands, UNM, Santa Fe Community College, Eastern, just to name a few. And then, of course, Santa Fe Public Schools is the employer that employs those licensed and certified teachers. Next slide, please. What's the slide? Okay. So some of the pathways to getting a license in New Mexico are the traditional pathway, which is a 4-year licensure pathway where a candidate chooses a college, goes into a field of education such as special ed, elementary ed, secondary ed, and early childhood education. Shout out to Brittany. We have a lot of the new teachers there. So those candidates that go into that program come out with a BA in education. So that is our #1 pathway. Next slide. Our next 4 pathways are alternative licensure pathways. So these pathways were created by the state of New Mexico in roughly in about 2003. These were to fast track people who have a BA in a non-licensed or non-educational field. So these candidates can take 3 different pathways. The first one, ALP, which is the Alternative Licensure Pathway, which is an approved pathway to attend an EPP, which is an educator-approved pathway through a local community college, such as Santa Fe Community College. All of these candidates that go through these different plans get a 2-year license through the state of New Mexico. The next plan is LEAP, which is Leading Educators Through Alternative Pathways, which is through a for-profit company in Albuquerque called CES. That's a 1-year program, but it still provides a 2-year license. The last one is OPAL, which is an online portfolio for alternative licensure, and that is a PED, New Mexico PED program, where the teachers are self-paced for the next 2 years on their own journey to complete requirements. All of these pathways do require the educators to have a Bachelor of Education. Next slide, please. Okay, the last alternative pathway is the secondary vocational technical license. This is the only license that does not require a Bachelor of Education. This license requires the educator to have prior job experience or some sort of technical experience. So somebody who might be in the field of IT, restaurant workers, things like that, they can apply for a license with a given amount of time. And just to let you know, I know somebody spoke about ECO, all of our ECO teachers are on this vocational license. Our woodworking teacher, our welding teacher, our auto body teacher, to name a few. Those are all teachers that are on this pathway that show life experience. The last alternative pathway is through the post-secondary experience, and this is for educators who have taught at the post-secondary or college level. These folks can get a license, teach in our schools for at least 1 year, as long as they have 5 to 6 years of education in the post-secondary realm. So we do have a few of those teachers in our classrooms. Next slide. The process for obtaining a license in New Mexico is completely done through Public Education Department. All candidates have to apply, pay their applicable fees, fill out the online application, provide official sealed transcripts, provide a letter of acceptance into approved alternative teaching program, register for a background and fingerprint check, which is also the same requirements when the teachers go to apply for a job at Santa Fe Public Schools, as well as through a accredited college or university. Some of the teachers that we do get, which Danielle will talk about after me, come to us from outside of the United States. So outside of the United States, teachers do have to provide a bachelor's or equivalent license, or degree. They also have to have their transcript certified by a company called West Educational Services, and that transcript service looks for credits, grades, and conferred degrees outside of the United States. The average cost to our educators that come to us from outside of the country is about $1,500 per transcript. Thank you, and I'll turn it over to Danielle Pastrana.
Good evening, Board President Abeyta, Superintendent Griffin, board members, and newly minted school board members. I want to talk a little bit about our commitment to supporting teachers who are coming from outside of the country. The biggest population of those teachers comes to us through a PED-sponsored program known as the Visiting Teacher Program that helps us fill hard-to-staff positions in our bilingual programs as well as our non-bilingual programs. Beyond their 3-year tenure here, we also really want to show and demonstrate our commitment to the teachers who have made the time to come to Santa Fe, get to know our community, get to know our students and our families, and instead of having them leave after 3 years, we have sponsored visa extensions, which I'll get into in a moment, for many of our teachers who have come through this program. So in the past 2 school years, we've sponsored visa extensions from 5 teachers from Mexico, 4 teachers from Spain, and 8 from the Philippines. Next slide, please. So this chart here illustrates the different types of visa extensions that we've provided for our teachers, what countries they're from, and the amount invested in them. Really briefly, the H-1B is a U.S. non-immigrant visa for foreign workers in specialty occupations. It requires a bachelor's degree or an equivalent thereof. This would be, for example, we have a dual language 5th grade position that needs to be filled and we don't have any candidates, so we can justify that as a highly specialized position. This extension lasts for 6 years. That's on top of the initial 3-year J-1 visa. An extension for the H-1B allows another 3 years for the person to stay here in the country working. The last 3, adjustment of status, PERM, and I-140, are visa or steps towards permanent residence, whether that's a green card or a permanent resident. And it's really exciting to see some of our teachers who come from abroad make Santa Fe their home and make a commitment to having their career here. So again, you can see the amount spent. It totals up to just shy of $65,000 that we've spent in the past 2 years. Next slide, please. I'll pass it over to Deputy Superintendent Romero.
This slide just highlights the recent federal changes to the H-1B visa program. This federal law affects all industries, not just education, and something very significant is happening. The filing fees have gone up to $100,000 per person. So that is going to affect us as a district. And then number 2, the lottery is now based on individual needs, which may reduce the number of teachers that we're able to secure through sponsorship. So we wanted to highlight this and bring it to the table because, as Mr. Pastrana mentioned, we have been supporting our teachers on their visas, but with the prices going up, that's going to be a problem, and I don't know if it'll be sustainable. And then just our course of action for moving forward. this school year and next school year, we're going to continue to support all of our teachers on alternative licensure pathways to join the profession. We also are participating in a project called SEMBRA, which is Sustaining Equity Through Mentorship for Bilingual Teacher Recruitment. And this is in partnership with Dual Language Education of New Mexico. They received a federal grant for 5 years, and it supports anyone interested in becoming a bilingual educator. It's a grow your own program. We have 10 participants this school year. These teachers or educational assistants, they receive a mentor, and they also get $3,500 for participating in the program. And this is in conjunction with Dual Language Education of New Mexico. And so we hope to continue that partnership next year. And then, of course, we have our district mentorship program with Vanessa Angel and her team. We want to continue to support our new teachers. We know that tenure is not long-term, and we want to ensure that we're providing all the supports that they need so that they do make this a career. And now we stand for questions.
Okay, questions or comments, Vice President Noble?
Thank you very much for this. I love this. Many good things. Let's see, so many questions too. How big is the alternative licensure, particularly I'm interested in those with alternative degrees, and are we seeing that grow?
President Noble, we have many teachers, and I'll let Vanessa speak to this, that are on the alternative licensure pathway. I would say probably more so in the past 5 years than we've seen in the past, but I'm sure Vanessa can expand.
Sure. Thank you. We currently have about 97% of our brand new teachers, which right now is about 53 teachers, are on the alternative licensure track. The rest of those have gone to a 4-year technical program. So we get most of our teachers from Santa Fe Community College.
Thank you. That's what I suspected, is that we're seeing more, and it makes the mentorship all the more important because if I'm not mistaken, having heard this over the years, sometimes they've never managed a classroom or, you know, experienced some of those visceral aspects of teaching that teachers who've gone through to get a degree in education have.
You're correct, absolutely. These teachers are taking classes simultaneously. In fact, we have a handful of teachers that won't start taking a class until spring 2026, and they are in our classrooms right now. So we are in classrooms daily with those teachers, supporting them. As Deputy Superintendent Romero said, we are helping them lesson plan, we're co-teaching, we're modeling, providing feedback, things like that. And so our goal is to get good teachers in front of kids faster.
Thank you, and thank you for your work. That mentorship, I know, and I've talked to some of them, is just so important and valuable. And of course, the first thing that we, I think, should do is retain the teachers that we've hired and keep them ideally past that sort of especially critical 3-year mark, as I understand it. Moving to the bilingual, the international piece. So if I'm understanding correctly, if transcripts from outside of the USA, if someone from another country has a bachelor's degree in education with roughly $1,500 and running the transcript through World Education Services, we can get them hired, and this works through PED as well to have a licensed teacher.
Correct, and the key phrase there is through PED because they're the ones handling licensure, but absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then just on the sponsorships for visa extensions, I wonder, is there any particular reason you can point to as to why the largest number is from the Philippines?
That's a great question. We have vacancies for our dual language programs, of course, but we have brought in a lot of teachers from the Philippines in order to fill our teaching slots that are open right now, and that we also have an exchange with them. So after our efforts are exhausted in finding teachers locally for non-dual language, non-bilingual classrooms, this is an option. So,
I mean, is it word of mouth amongst Filipino communities, do we suppose? It's strong.
the Filipino community is strong here, and having worked with some of these teachers more over the past year, there is, just like in Spain and just like in Mexico, folks hear about the program and apply. These are folks who are licensed teachers in their respective countries and are excited at the opportunity to come here, many of whom invest more than their initial 3 years here.
Okay, thank you. That's great stuff. And again, huge appreciation for this work. My last question is, in some of these areas, is there one that some or each of you see as our best opportunity? Like, where are we focusing most in terms of getting qualified educators through any and all of the pathways you outlined in this presentation?
I will start us off, and if anyone wants to add, please do so. I think our biggest efforts and our that provide the longest term results for us is investing in our community here. I want to highlight the Project Sembrar Grow Your Own program that we're partnering with this year, and that's already been funded for next year. So this really looks out for anyone from graduating high school students to EAs to teachers who want to come back and become bilingual teachers in the classroom, which we all know is a very hard to fill spot. So I would say definitely highlighting our work in recruiting teachers. I also want to give a shout out and praise the district for investing the money in extending visas for our visiting teachers. I can't say enough how much they're valued and the investment that they put into the community, and to have that continue on really pays its dividends. As Deputy Superintendent Romero mentioned, this is going to become a tremendous challenge going forward because the fee increased from $5,000 to $100,000, rather disproportionate. So that brings up a lot of questions, and I think it refocuses back to my first point, which is how can we look to our community here at large? How can we look to our graduating seniors who are interested in coming back to the community after they complete their education to be in the classroom? So would you like to add anything?
One of the things that's important for our teachers for retention is that the state requires a new teacher mentorship program of just 1 year. Santa Fe Public Schools offers a 2-year program, and actually it's almost 2.5, 3-year program. So we mentor them the first full year every week. They see us, they get emails from us, they get feedback from us. We also follow them and track them in their second year by providing them updates through PED. PED has switched to a new program for advancing teachers called the micro-credentials. And so we support the teachers as their mentor while they go through that micro-credential process. So that starts to happen in years 2 and 3. And so we really don't let them go until they're a full-fledged level 2. So they have that much support, both our community college teachers, our teachers who are on that track for a 4-year college program, our vocational technical. I don't know how to weld, but my welding teacher thinks I know how to weld, because we talk about safety in MIG welding, TIG welding, shielded metal arc welding. I know a lot, and so we support those teachers from day one all the way to getting their level 2 license, which for our teachers that are outside of the country, we help them as well by ensuring that they're following and safe in our classrooms because of the cultural changes and knowing what PED's looking for them.
It's wonderful. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the presentation and especially all the work that you do that is behind what we learned here tonight. Thank you.
Board Member Bozé.
Thank you, President Abeyta. I think that you answered it, but I just want to clarify that transcripts being run through WES, that's a PED requirement. Is that correct? Okay. They chose that contract. Okay, thank you.
Board Member Heffron.
Thank you, President Abeyta. Also, a clarifying question for me, please. We currently have, it says here, teachers on the visa program in the past 2 years, 23 to the current, 5 Mexico, 4 Spain, 8 Philippines. That's 17 teachers. what is their visa extension possibility? How long can we keep these 17 on board? That's my first question.
Great question. So the teachers that you just specifically mentioned are currently on extension, so we've extended they would have had to have returned by this point, but we extended their stay 6 more years. So depending on the
6
teacher, so depending on the teacher, they're in one of those 6 years of their extension for the maximum of 9.
All right, so, and do we have any others currently in the pipeline? How many, and what does that breakdown look like? Are they math teachers? Are there eco teachers? Who are they?
Great question as well. So that we have at least 4 teachers who are in the pipeline this year. That we're still understanding the new administrative regulations around this H-1B extension. It is our current understanding, and I don't want to misspeak. Certainly our legal counsel could clarify this, but we believe that anyone who is in the country before the 21st of September is still eligible for the initial price of visa extension versus this new $100,000 price. And so we are going to go forth with at least 4 extensions. They range from third grade teacher at Sweeney to a 7th grade teacher at Ortiz to 5th grade teacher at Kearney. It runs the gamut, including and not limited to, excuse me, elementary only.
All right, and my other question would be, when teachers are coming from abroad to be here, and I'm particularly thinking about comments I've heard from teachers from the Philippines, quite frankly. Do we teach them English or coach them in English once they are here and now in our classrooms?
Great question. So PED is the facilitator or the party that helps us bring the teachers in. So they have to meet certain requirements, whether it's through transcript courses, experience of years working, as well as a level of English. Beyond that, we provide support and speaking to our visiting teachers through Vanessa's program as well as in Language and Culture Department. As far as specific language instruction in English, to my knowledge, no.
Okay. Thank you very much for this work, and I am wondering, do you see any possibilities with the new Fed law of 100K in place? Are we going to get any more teachers from abroad?
This is the question of the hour. The good news is that our visiting teachers that come in through the PED program come in on what's called a J1 visa, which is different than the H-1B. What's concerning to us is that, again, if a teacher comes and shows that they are a dedicated, well-versed, effective teacher who has both a cultural connection with our students and has the skill set that we need, we want them to stay, right? And that's where the H-1B and beyond comes, and that's where we're entering a gray zone.
Thank you very much for your work. I appreciate it very much. We're desperate for teachers.
Indeed.
Okay, did our student board members have any questions? Yes.
Thank you, President Aveda. My question for you is, do you have any plans of expansion even with this increase in price? Do you plan to meet needs in different areas in New Mexico or out of state? And do you plan to acquire any funding in lieu of this increase to $100,000?
I don't want to speak to commitments to budget. I think that's something for the board and the superintendent to look at. But I will say that we'll continue to support teachers through our mentorship program. I think better connections with universities, especially Highlands, New Mexico State, and recruiting teachers that are completing admin programs, and then of course working with the community college and ensuring that those on alternative licensures are supported. As far as funding of H-1B visas and extensions, this is a new federal change, and so we are all in this together trying to figure out how we're going to support incoming teachers from other countries.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Sure.
Is there a certain type of transition process from abroad all the way to teaching in the classrooms here in our public schools system?
Thanks for the question. So there is training that happens on the PED side for any teacher who's coming from Philippines, Mexico, Spain. Upon their arrival, we've also had, and to be transparent, we haven't done this in the past year, but in the past I've hosted a 4-part series for teachers to effectively acculturate, right? A lot of the educational systems share similarities, and a lot of them have some big differences. And we're not just talking about language, but just what schooling and education looks like. So that's something we can absolutely continue to do, because it is a big shift for folks. Easier for some than others, but it's a shift.
Okay. Anything else from the board? All right, then that concludes the presentation. Our next item on the agenda are our action items. We have a consent. We have 3 items on consent: budget adjustment request, contracts over $60,000, and minutes from our September 2025 special meeting and September 25th, 2025 regular meeting. Do the board members have any questions or need any clarifications on items on the consent? Yes, Vice President Noble.
Thank you, President Abeyta. I just had some questions looking at the contracts that are over $60,000 that we have a bunch going on, particularly, I mean, there's 3 with CES for nurses, occupational therapists, physical therapists, a bunch of speech language, as well as additional occupational therapists. I just wonder if there's any sort of context we can have as to whether this is usual, or are we increasing contracts more than usual because we aren't able to hire staff or anything like that. I'm just wondering if the context of there's a surprising consistency as to what's happening with these contracts in this chart.
Vice President Noble, a lot of these, the initial contract was under 60,000, thinking that we could hire, but we haven't been able to hire ancillary staff, and that's been unfortunate. And I know that this is a struggle throughout the state. I know many people are turning to teletherapy and other virtual services because we can't find. But the good news, I mean, we did hire 2 social workers, so there is a decrease in one of the contracts because we did hire recently 2 social workers.
Thank you. Thank you for noting that. And are these going to mostly be in-person services? Are we depending on remote?
Correct. All of these services, most of them will be in person. We do have a couple virtual speech language vendors, but the majority will be in person.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay, Board Member Heffron.
Thank you, President Abeyta. I also have a question that I don't quite understand on the contracts for board approval. There are many at that page on special education. Can you explain this to me? Does this mean we actually are hiring new special education EAs or teachers?
So most of these are for ancillary staff, so it's occupational therapy, physical therapy.
Okay.
There's EBAs, aides in our special education classroom. So these are they're basically all ancillary staff.
Ancillary always. Okay, thank you.
Not teachers.
Not teachers. Thanks very much. I just wanted to make sure. Thanks.
Okay, can I have a
Thanks,
motion
Sarah.
regarding the consent items?
Move approval of the consent agenda?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item B is the second reading and approval of amended policy 502, budget development and maintenance. Vice President Noble.
Thank you, President Abeyta. As the board may remember, and actually I'll back up just a second for our student board members. We, for policies, we tend to do 2 readings. So we looked at this policy at our last meeting, and we passed it, and then we bring it back for a second reading, and so this is sort of our final moment with it. If we vote on it tonight, it goes. We certainly can bring it back or anything like that if we need to, but that's sort of our modus operandi, just so that we get 2 looks. And if we're, super tired one night, hopefully we're fresh 2 weeks later and that sort of thing. And just, I think you all have packets, but there are, the red ink is the new language. Oh, you don't have these? Thank you. Might be in the back there, but yeah, we have the original policy, and then you can see some of the strike through and the red that is the new language for the new policy. And did you have a question?
I did. If the policy is decided against in the second meeting, is it voted on again, or is it just?
Yeah, it would depend on what is made in the motion. So we might ask the superintendent and her team to bring something back in a new form. We could just kill it and say we're done. In my 8.5 years on the board, that's never happened. Usually when we consider an amendment to a policy, there's a good reason for it. And so, yeah, I mean, it could happen, but it never has. Go ahead, Board Member Bozay.
Well, and just to say that usually when we do the first reading, if we have feedback or edits, that's sort of the time that we do that. And so if we had concerns, we would have voiced them during the first reading, and hopefully adjustments would have been made so that then the second reading is something that we're all on board with.
Thank you.
And, sorry, just to keep going on this one, and again, I don't know if you have this, but we have our budget adjustment requests, which I'm happy to hand mine down, but many of them are for $0. And Board Member Bozay, if you want to, that we just passed on the consent agenda, but all those $0 budget adjustment requests is sort of what this policy is about. Because in essence, we are considering giving our team the ability to move money within functions, or within funds, but between functions. So in other words, if we have sort of a more general line item, and they need to move something as they did tonight, for covering benefits and professional development, for example, on bar number 6, they'd be able to do that without coming to us for a $0 budgeted adjustment request. And I just want to say, and Board Member Bozay has previewed this, but ultimately, I have a sentence that I would like to add to the policy to make the intent of what we discussed at our last meeting clear. And if the board would prefer, of course, we can bring this back, but at the end of the red piece that says, I'll just read it out loud, maintenance bars have blanket approval by the board to perform budget maintenance as needed, moving budget within the same fund and function series. Transfer bars have blanket approval by the board to perform budget maintenance as needed, moving budget within the same fund between function series. So we're approving blanket approval for maintenance bars and transfer bars. Per the recommendation of the audit committee, I'd love to add the following sentence after that, which is that maintenance and transfer bars with blanket approval within the same fund shall be reported to the board every quarter. Just that was the recommendation of the audit committee to make sure that we still have our eyes across these maintenance bars. And I don't know, Superintendent, if you or if Mr. Halford wants a minute to think about that or anything, we could always bring it back and change it back, of course, if we create any problems with the language I've suggested. But rather than counting on everybody to remember that, I think I'd like to put that in the policy. That would be my preference.
Please.
Board Member Heffron.
I wanted to clarify and amplify as well. Vice President Noble said, for you to understand, student board members, we have an audit committee. I'm on it with Kate Noble, and we review budget items. And it's in that audit committee meeting where we agreed to put this forward to us for a vote. The idea here is to simplify financial accounting principles as much as possible. So in other words, as you can see on that list, there is zero impact on that bar, 0, 0, 0. which in other words, we don't have to have multiple meetings so that we can vote on $0 being transferred. Do you see what I mean? So it's just to really streamline some basic accounting principles, but keeping it all justifiably very legal, don't get me wrong. And that, as she just said, we would still get everything that was not voted on here. Every quarter, we would get a report on what was included. So we would all still be apprised throughout the year. Does that help? I hope. Thanks. Thank
Okay,
you.
so with that, I'll move for approval with the additional sentence regarding quarterly reports to the board.
I'll second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so the next item is an appointment to the CRC by Board Member Heffron.
Thank you very much, President Beta. Yes, I would like to bring attention to my appointment to the CRC of Danny, D-A-N-N-Y, Maki, M-A-K-I, who, by the way, has a student at Nye Early Childhood Center. And at any rate, I would like to nominate him for that committee. I move that. Thank you. I've never done
Okay,
this. Can you tell?
There's a motion.
I move that we accept Danny Maki onto the CRC committee.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And there's a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
President Abeyta, and if I could just relay to Board Member Heffron that Mr. Mackey came to the CRC meeting last week, and he also was at our leadership breakfast this week. So it was great to meet him and have him participating, even though he wasn't officially on the board yet. I mean, on the committee yet. Thank you.
Okay, we have board discussion and possible action. Is there any board discussion or possible action? Okay, then if not, our last item is advanced planning. We have our calendar of meetings coming up. On the 16th, audit committee meeting at noon. Yes, Vice President Noble.
Did we confirm we need a monthly meeting during an active audit? We can give you another minute, but.
Yeah, no, Board President Bate, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Griffin, yes, we did find that it is a requirement that we have it during an active.
Thank you,
audit.
appreciate it.
Okay, and then on the 21st at noon is our Partners in Education meeting. And then the 23rd at 4:30, there's a tentative executive session with a regular meeting at 5:30. And then the advanced planning calendar goes on through November and the rest of the year. So if there's nothing else, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
We had a good discussion with the reporter yesterday.
Dr. Garcia.